Et tu, Brute? Et tu? That's right, Shield Brothers. Today we're talking about the Ides of March and Julius Caesar on this occurrence on March 15th, 44 BC. Depicted top left of Julius Caesar's assassination. So what is it, you may be asking? What is the Ides of March? Well, the Ides of March, or Latin Ides Martiae, is a day on the Roman calendar which corresponded with March 15th. It was marked by several religious observances historically, and it was also notable to the Romans as a deadline for settling their debts. But, in 44 BC, it became notorious as the date of the assassination of Julius Caesar. So what were the motives to kill such a man as Julius Caesar, you may be wondering? Why slay Caesar? Well, the assassination of Julius Caesar was a result of a conspiracy by many Roman senators, believed to be anywhere between about 40 to about 60. Caesar was the dictator of the Roman Republic at the time, and he had been recently declared dictator perpetuo by the Senate, which gives him the legal right and power to be dictator for a certain amount of time. I can't remember off the top of my head. So this declaration by the Senate made several senators fear that Caesar wanted to overthrow the Senate in favor of tyranny. And biographers describe tension between Caesar and the Senate, and his possible claims to the title of king, or the fact that the title of king might have been trying to be thrust upon him by people such as Mark Antony and the lower classes of the Roman populace, due to their love for him and their belief that he could single-handedly rule the Roman Republic. Well, these events were the principal motive for Caesar's assassination and what would lead to the remembrance of the Ides of March and the downfall of the Roman Republic. So, let's continue. Planning. Well, in modern times, the Ides of March is best known for this event, and Caesar was stabbed to death at the meeting with the Senate. As many as 60 conspirators, as I said, led by Brutus and Cassius, were involved. And altogether, it was led by Gaius Cassius Longus, Decimus Junius Brutus, and Marcus Junius Brutus, and they stabbed Julius Caesar to death in an event adjacent to the theater of Pompey. These senators feared and envied Caesar's power and prowess, and ultimately they decided the only way to protect themselves and preserve their Rome, and as they thought it should be, was to ultimately slay Caesar, so that they may preserve the Roman Republic as they believed it should look. So this here is a list of known plotters. There are believed to be many more than this, but this is the list of historical records that we have of conspirators. We have Gaius Cassius Longus, Marcus Junius Brutus, Servius Sulpicius Galba, Quintus Ligarius, Lucius Manutius Basileus, Gaius Servius Casca, Publius Servius Casca Longus, Decimus Junius Brutus Albinus, Lucius Tullius Cimba, Decimus Tertullius, Gaius Trebunius, Lucius Cassius Longia, Gaius Cassius Parmenius, Cassius Braconius, Rubrius Ruga, Marcus Spurius, Publius Sextius Nassus, Lucius Pontius Aquilia, Petronius, and Pacius Atostius Labio. This is what we believe and know to be the known plotters for the assassination on the Ides of March. So, the Ides of March had been predicted by a seer, supposedly, that had warned Caesar that he would not die or no harm would come to him any later than the Ides of March. And on his way to the meeting with the Senate, he stopped at the seer and told him the Ides of March come. But the seer responds by saying, "I, Caesar," but they have not finished. And thus, after he leaves the seer and gets to the Senate, he is murdered. So the conspirators were unable to restore the Roman Republic as they wanted. They hoped that this would affect the outcome and that they would be able to reestablish the Roman Republic as they believed it should be. So, the ramifications of the assassination led to the Liberators' Civil War, and ultimately it led to the Principate period of the Roman Empire. Note Empire, not Republic. 2 days after the assassination, Mark Antony summoned the Senate and managed to work out a compromise of sorts in which the assassins would not be tried or punished for their acts, but all of Caesar's appointments and decrees, etc., would remain valid. By doing this, Antony most likely hoped to avoid large cracks in the government that had formed at the loss of such leadership as Caesar. But also simultaneously, by doing this, Antony diminished the goals of the conspirators, because this was a result unforeseen by the assassins, was that Caesar's death precipitated the end of the Roman Republic, because everything he had done and appointed remained valid due to the compromise created by Mark Antony. And also, the Roman lower classes, with whom Caesar was greatly popular, became enraged that a small group of aristocrats had decided that they could sacrifice Caesar in what they believed fit. So, often it is seen that Mark Antony and others used this angry group of citizens as a secret weapon of sorts to kind of push the bills that they wanted to be pushed against other senators, due to what they had done. So what is the importance of this, you may be asking? So what? He died. Julius Caesar's gone. Well, Caesar's death was a closing event in the crisis of the Roman Republic, and it triggered the civil war that would see the rise of the sole power of his adopted heir, Octavian, later known as Augustus Caesar, and the creation of the Roman Empire. Writing under Augustus, Ovid portrays that the murder is a sacrilege, it's heresy, because Caesar at the time was the Pontifex Maximus of Rome, and he was also a priest of Vesta. So they had killed a holy man and a priest of the gods. So this was just heresy for killing him. And on the 4th anniversary of Caesar's death in 40 BC, after achieving a victory, Octavian executed 300 senators and knights that had fought against him under the brother of Mark Antony, Lucius Antonius. The executions were a series of actions taken by Octavian to avenge Caesar's death to the amount that he saw fit. Suetonius and the historian Cassius Dio characterized the slaughter as a religious sacrifice and observance, noting that it occurred on the Ides of March at the new altar built to the deified Julius. So Julius Caesar now held his own altar and sacrifices of the betrayers made to him and Jupiter. Remembrance. Well, like I said, Augustus, Octavian, would have many slaughters dedicated to him so that he may be fully avenged with his honor needed, because he had many honorary titles bestowed upon him. So Octavian, due to just love for the man as bloodline, but also due to the honor he believed needed, would have these done for him. And also, the Ides of each month were usually sacred to Jupiter, the Roman supreme deity. And the Flamen Dilius, Jupiter's high priest, led the Ides sheep, Ovius Idulius, in procession along the Via Sacra to the arks where it would be sacrificed. And they incorporated this further for Julius Caesar and his avenging. Beware the Ides of March, you could say, as becomes famous. So there is dramatization of this, of course, and the most famous of the dramatizations of Julius Caesar's death would be the tragedy of Julius Caesar by William Shakespeare. It is believed to be written in 1599 and is one of several plays written by Shakespeare based on true events from Roman history. Although the play is named Julius Caesar, Brutus speaks for more than 4 times as many lines as the title character. And the central psychological drama of the play focuses on Brutus because of his love for Caesar, as I said, and being him a pupil and friend, and his struggle between conflicting demands of honor, patriotism, friendship, and what he believed needed to be done to preserve a Roman Republic. But, as you can see, even in the dramatization, this all fails. Mark Antony wins. Octavian becomes the Emperor of Rome in the Roman Empire. So this plot on the Ides of March gave it an infamous meaning, but ultimately failed its designed purpose. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something about the Ides of March. I hope you learned something about Julius Caesar and the fall of the Roman Republic and the building of the Roman Empire. As always, this has been Shield Brother 6, and I'll catch you next time. Beware the Ides of March.